Holding up to now. And 11-8 is Darkwood and Katie. Snow Rocco is 6-1. Authorised Mission 7-1. Bolin Matilda is 7-1. It's 12s and bigger. There's a few moving, but nothing major. It's just a nice, big field to get stuck into here. And it's 11-8, the field. You tell me about Arthur's Seat, Gordon, in all its glory. I don't know much about it, but there's some people right at the top by the looks of it. This extinct volcano. I think it formed about 340 million years ago during the Carboniferous period. It's about 251 metres high as well, or 823 feet to you and I. You ever been up there? Genuinely, how long has it taken you to get up there? Because it estimates 2 hours, but I reckon you'd have done it quicker than that, Gordon.
I once managed to go up there during my younger days doing the Great Caledonian Run round the cobbled streets of the old town of Edinburgh, Tom, and yeah, it's quite a landmark for the city of Edinburgh. The people up there, I could see one of them actually flashing our RBS gold card, so that's how good our eyesight is here. Overlooking, of course, Holyrood Park, where the Scottish Parliament is, and always a great view from here at Musselburgh. It's one of those iconic sort of parts of the old town, Old Reekie as it's called.
Well, one of my last visits up here in August, it was on fire briefly, wasn't it? They had to be.
Yeah,
they had to be. Great Wikipedia work from Tom. I do love it when somebody does that sort of straight face, pretending it's.
You can see right across to Fife, and it's a fantastic. As I say,
Ellie Welton, our colleague, I think, did it the day before. It must have been Musselburgh Sunday series or something last year.
I think he's pitching for a job with the Scottish Tourist Board.
Speaking of bright sunshine, Gordon.
They're missing out the hurdles in the home straight, the three of them, for our final Go North final of the afternoon, the Racing Post Plus Ultimate Go North Brindisi Breeze Hurdle Series final. It's over 3 miles, so that'll be quite important because they would have jumped 2 first time round, and then 3, and then another 3. So what's 8 flights less to jump? Is that right?
Yeah. So they're just going to jump 3 in the back twice.
No,
it's going to be 6 instead of 14.
Yeah.
So the other thing, the upshot of that is, go back to Aintree and that form being obviously said, or the Grade 1 Aintree over Christmas.
You don't miss many out here because of low sun.
No, it's
to be
pretty
fair,
rare, isn't it? I could make a joke about the Scottish weather there, but I won't, Gordon, obviously, because I live in Manchester and we don't know what sun is.
I presume they're going to dole off what would be the third last as well.
So 3, 2, and 1 out, all omitted. And we see it at Kelso, don't we, where it's ordinarily testing ground, and the run from the final flight they do actually jump. Is a long way home, and it creates a different dynamic, which almost always puts the emphasis more on stamina. That's what it did for my daddy Paddy, I think, still to this day, in that Idaho Sun forming novices hurdle. It put less of an emphasis on his good jumping, and it made it more of a test of stamina, which didn't suit. And this will do that. It's already 3 miles.
Yeah.
And the
it's
running.
a different race.
Yeah. So what's 3 out here? Is it probably
3
and a half furlongs?
3.5.
So 3.5. You've probably got another furlong and a half at least to reach the last one in the back. So this is basically going to be 3 flights, 5 furlong running, probably 8 on the flat, probably about a mile from one flight to the first one next time round, and then they'll have a 5 furlong running. And it's all, so much of it is down to jockey patience and playing your hand at the right time.
I'm presuming they're just about to doll off the third last. I think that's the dolls going down there now. So the starting point is between what you'd say the third last and the second last. So first time round they miss out 2, next time round they miss out 3, final circuit they miss out another 3, so they miss out 8. And I didn't realise this, but somebody was telling me that it obviously does benefit a horse that doesn't jump well, and it's to the detriment of a good jumper. Did you know if your horse is down at the start and you feel that the conditions of the race do not favour your horse anymore with the omission of all the hurdles, you can withdraw it without penalty? It doesn't happen often.
You mentioned that to me before,
but it is. You can do that.
If it was a race where you didn't have far to travel and you've got other entries lined up, you may take a chance and do it. I think you referenced one person who did do it.
I think James Ewart once had a favourite at Market Raisin, and I think they were down at the start, and it was a good jumping chaser, and there was fences omitted, and it was withdrawn down at the start.
And
without penalty.
But you'd be there'd be some long faces if you're coming here for a 40 grand handicap.
So if you had a
and there's
good
some-
jumping horse that was second or third favourite, and you discovered that there was going to be 8 flights less to jump, and jumping was, is
Yeah.
40, what would you do? If you could withdraw without penalty.
You've got considerations of owners as well. If you owned it yourself, then it's totally your decision, is it? But
I mean, the conditions of the race have changed.
they have changed. I agree. And
Massively.
we saw how it can. We've seen how it can influence results loads of times over the years. Whether it be Exeter, where there's a punishing run for home after the omit flights, whether it be Kelso that you and I see a lot of, where they end up racing so far out and it becomes just sort of a battle of who gets least exhausted.
Yeah, going down at Dundalk. What time are we? We're only about 2 minutes away from Dundalk's 4:37.
But you can imagine the reaction though if an owner's this race has been mapped out. It's the series final. You've qualified for it. You've done everything you need to. It's 40 grand added pot. If you then get down to the start and say, "Oh, actually withdrawing," I imagine there might be a bit of a fallout between trainer and owner in those circumstances.
Being called in then for race 5. Let's go back up to Simon.
One more turn here. Hopefully they'll go after one more turn. So we're down to just the 3 flights in the back straight. Just 6 flights in all over 3 miles. Hopefully this will be a goer. Star Vantage a bit behind them. Scarp Dove might go forward in the orange cap. So the starter still seems to be receiving information on his walkie-talkie. So are we ready or not? No, there's another turn in the offing. The boards are up at the hurdles. Can't really see any problems. There is a race going on. I think a race about to begin at Dundalk. I don't know whether that's going to make any difference to this 5th race here at Musselburgh. And they turn again to the starter, but the flag is not up. No, they're being, I think, asked to go ready or held anyway. It's always just probably given a new start time. Well, the starter receiving plenty of information through this walkie-talkie. There might be a new start time for this race. So they're making successive turns. No, I think he's, is he about to raise that flag? Yeah, I think he is. And we're ready. And they're off. So away they go then for this Racing Post Plus Ultimate Go North Brindisi Breeze Hurdle Series final, bypassing the 3 flights in the home straight over 3 miles, so there'll just be the 6 to jump. And on the far side, going forward is Authorised Mission in the striped jacket. Bolin Matilda is prominent with Kilmore Castle in purple and green. In the cheek pieces followed Charlie. On the near side, Forge Well. Romeo Brown prominent on the far side in the black with the yellow disc, along with Snow Rocco over there. And then the favourite, the short price favourite, given the competitiveness of this race, Dear Keith and Katie, as they pass the judge. In the last quartet, we've got Evenwood, Son of a Gun on the inside of Monsieur Le Fuz, SpitSpot on the outside, and Star Vantage, and Scarp Dove is in the midfield. So heading now towards their first flight. And Kilmore Castle from Authorised Mission, follow Charlie, Bolin Matilda, Romeo Brown round the inside of Forge Well, and then Dear Keith and Katie. Snow Rocco's round the inside of Scarf Dove. as they now jump flight number 1. And all over there with Evenwood, Son of a Gun towards the rear, Monsieur Lafaz, SpitSpot and Star Vantage. On to the second authorised mission, joined and maybe just passed here by Kilmore Rock and Nathan Mosscrop jumping that one. Romeo Brown, little awkward on landing. And now on to the third of the 3 in the back straight. Kilmore Castle, authorised mission in the stripes on the inside. Bolin Matilda's just in behind them with Follow Charlie, out wide Forge Well. And then behind those is Dear Keith and Katie with Scarf Dove in the orange cap. Wide is SpitSpot of Monsieur Lafaz in yellow. Evenwood, Son of a Gun, is behind Romeo Brown in the purple and pink jacket. And then Snow Rocco, probably about 5th last, 2nd last, Monsieur Lafaz. Star Vantage is the back marker. So turning now, right-handed, and on down the straight. And for the next bit, it's a flat race. They won't be jumping another flight until about the mile point from the finish. And Kilmore Castle from authorised mission. Close up is Follow Charlie, Bolin Matilda, Romeo Brown. And then wide is Scarf Dove with Snow Rocco between runners. Then Dear Keith and Katie smothered up on the inside in the blue and red jacket. The white cap with the blue star on the cap for favourite backers. Out wide is Forge Well. Then back in the field to Snow Rocco, Evenwood, Son of a Gun, Scarf Dove. Then SpitSpot. Monsieur Lafaz is 2nd last and Star Vantage is last of all. So heading towards the grandstand then, with a circuit left to travel, and authorised mission, and Kilmore Rock have been right up with the pace throughout. Romeo Brown on the far side of Bolin Matilda, and then Forge Well close up too, improving in fact Forge Well to go up and nearly join the front pair. They're followed by Follow Charlie, Dear Keith and Katie's around the inside of Scarf Dove, who's ridden along. And then a couple of lengths to Snow Rocco and SpitSpot and Evenwood, Son of a Gun, and then Monsieur Lafaz and Star Vantage. So heading now towards the 3 flights in the back straight. When they jump the third of them, which is going to be their final flight, they'll have a run-in of 6 furlongs. Heading towards 3 out then, authorised mission, Kilmore Castle, on the outside Forge Well. Follow Charlie, Bolin Matilda, all close up. Romeo Brown was ridden on landing. Reminder for Forge Well. Scarf Dove continues to be smuggled along on the outside. Then Dear Keith and Katie's moving okay at the moment, the favourite, albeit in about 7th or 8th position. But John Joe doesn't look too worried as they head on down towards what will be their final flight. Authorised mission from Kilmore Castle. Bolin Matilda jumping this one. Follow Charlie. Scarf Dove still under pressure on the outside. Forge Well has lost some ground. Dear Keith and Katie in the red and white starred sleeves is back towards the inside with Evenwood, Son of a Gun. Trying to make ground is Snow Rocco behind Follow Charlie. Romeo Brown under a heavy drive, followed by Star Vantage, Monsieur Lafaz towards the back. But they're reasonably well grouped together, with the exception of Romeo Brown, who's dropped away now as they turn for home. And Kilmore Castle from authorised mission. Bolin Matilda. Now Dear Keith and Katie coming through into 4th place. The favourite is on them. Improve here, 3 lengths then to Evenwood, Son of a Gun, heading down the home straight and about to run inside the final quarter. Authorised mission with Bolin Matilda. Then on the near side, Kilmore Rock, and coming across to the outside running rail is Dear Keith and Katie, who's now being asked for more. Authorised mission, Bolin Matilda, Kilmore Rock, Dear Keith and Katie from the back. Star Vantage is running on, and then Evenwood, Son of a Gun from the back as well, as Bolin Matilda now bags the stands rail from Kilmore Rock. Authorised mission, Dear Keith and Katie being switched and begins to stay on resolutely under a drive, but it's Bolin Matilda near side Murray Dodd from Kilmore Rock, Dear Keith and Katie, and Bolin Matilda is going to see it out the best. Bolin Matilda goes on to score by over 3 lengths to Dear Keith and Katie. In 3rd, Kilmore Rock, and then Star Vantage in 4th.
Yeah, forging clear in the end. Bolin Matilda, we talked about her in the paddock for Callum Willans, trained by his dad Donald and ridden by Murray Dodd. Hadn't won for a couple of years. She's fairly forged away with this. The favourite rallied in the end. Dear Keith and Katie to finish 2nd, and Kilmore Rock was 3rd.
I got 5:40, 5:30 for that. I bet there haven't been 5 races run over 3 miles this season that have been running a quicker time than that. Obviously it's a pretty competitive race anyway, but it was a well-run affair. And as always seems to happen, Gordon, in races where they omit the flights in the straight, horses crack due to the emphasis on stamina. They're off the bridle so far out and they don't have the stamina to see it through. But Bolin Matilda did. Tigerish on the near side. Committed. I thought Dear Keith and Katie was coming with a run that might prove irresistible. He's a thorough stayer, that horse, and Kilmore Rock has stuck to his guns. Much better performance from him.
But for ratings purposes, and particularly speed ratings, Dan, how can you rate a race like this when you've jumped 8 less hurdles than advertised?
Without getting too geeky about it, and maybe people would say I struggle to do that at the best of times, but I think you account for about 0.8 of a second per flight. That's the average time a horse would spend in the air. So you basically, if you want to, you'd add on that for the flights that they've jumped. But really, for the sake of one race where it's happened, I don't think you'd read too much into it ultimately. I don't think it's pinch of salt form. I wouldn't go that far. But it's definitely a race which you've got to treat with caution. There are horses here that appear to have not run well, that probably are in better form than it suggests, but the circumstances didn't suit. We were trying to calculate. We reckon it's probably a 6.5 furlong run-in.
Yeah.
So the length of a Stewards Cup and a bit more, and the gap between the first where they started and the first flight.
There's the 5 pole there on the straight course.
Yeah, that's probably nearly a mile before they encountered a flight. Romeo Brown we see dropping away at the back. The old boy probably not used to this sort of set of circumstances. He's probably waiting for the next flight. Just pick up on Star Vantage, who was out of the weight, still a maiden. Maybe he's not one to get lulled in with too heavily, but he's one of the more patiently ridden. He runs on into the frame ultimately. One of the horses we like, Snow Rocco, her effort came to a stop very quickly. I thought she looked a bit of a threat, certainly for place purposes early in the straight, and then she's wilted. I think she's eased off in the end, carrying her head to one side. It might emerge that she wasn't 100%, but yeah, don't be dwelling on the form for too much. It looks a really competitive race on paper, and Bolin Matilda was not winning out of turn, and she's beaten the right horse. She's beaten the progressive favourite, who'd won here on trials weekend, but it's a race that's clearly heavily influenced by the fact that they had a Stewards Cup and a bit more to cover after they'd cleared their final flight.
She's won well in the end. There's daylight between her and the rallying favourite, Dear Keith and Katie, Bolin Matilda, carrying the colours of Callan Williams, who is the son of Donald the trainer. And Callum, he also bred this mare out of Ball and Julie. Murray Dodd's £7 allowance helped. Kilmore Rock, as I say, finished in third